Hello and welcome to the Abject, your one-stop shop for examinations of extreme cinema. In today's episode we'll be looking at the notorious video nasty Mr. Popper's Penguins. Mr. Popper's Penguins is a 2011 American comedy film distributed by 20th Century Fox, directed by Mark Waters, produced by John Davis, co-produced by Davis Entertainment Company and June Entertainment, written by Sean Anders, John Morris and Jared Stern, music by Rolf Kent, starring Jim Carrey. Okay, hopefully that's enough bullshit to get past the annoying content scanning bots that were hassling me over last week's Romeo and Juliet episode. I'm actually going to be looking at Cutting Moments, the 25-minute suburban nightmare directed by Douglas Buck. Buck is a filmmaker of a pretty small filmography who hasn't really broken through in the way he perhaps should have, especially given some of the fucking hacks who managed to get work in mainstream horror.
Oh, see?
Cutting Moments is about a family who could charitably be described as dysfunctional.
So, Joey, how was your day? Good.
There's a husband, Patrick, a wife, Sarah, and their son, Joey. Patrick is regularly raping Joey and absolutely despises Sarah. He doesn't just not love her anymore, he seems to absolutely resent her. Sarah seems to be aware that something deeply rotten is going on between her husband and her son, but she's powerless to stop it and puts on the facade of being a traditional housewife to try and paper over the obscenity with decency. After a last-ditch effort by Sarah to try and save their marriage fails, the blood starts to flow and the movie transitions from something like a more serious version of a Todd Solondz film into full gore movie territory. Cutting Moments is my favourite short film and probably the best argument I have for the short film as a valid artistic medium of its own, equal in worth to the feature film and not just its reject cousin. It's cheap, but it's very well directed. There's no obnoxious and unnecessary stylistic flourishes that detract from the story. It's actually very restrained in its handling of the lurid subject matter. The first half actually kind of reminds me of a Michael Haneke film in some ways. Buck very wisely really dwells on how fucked up and maladjusted the family unit is in the first half of the film, to help anchor the gore stuff later on in a really believable world.
Your mother sent over an old wedding picture of us. I put it upstairs in our bedroom.
There's nothing schlocky or B-movie about it. It takes its material very seriously, which ultimately makes it a very impactful and hard-to-watch movie. If it was slightly cheekier or more overtly satirical, I don't think it would have that same effect. As far as negatives go, there's not too many, unless for some reason you expect your low-budget shock films to have Inception-level production value. The one thing I will say is there's a couple of dicey line deliveries, mainly from the Sarah character.
By law, he's not supposed to tell us anything. But the board hearing is tomorrow. He said they might come get Joey tomorrow.
Yeah, some of the lines are a bit flat, but honestly it doesn't bother me that much. For a low-budget horror film, there's plenty more egregious examples than this, and the actress makes up for it with her physical acting, which is genuinely really good. In the self-mutilation scenes in particular, she really sells the absolute despair and dejection of the character. This is a really, really brutal movie. On the official Abject pessimism scale, it's way down the extremely fucking miserable end with Dogville, which is about as bleak as it gets. Its skewering of the family unit is cruel, but I think it's authentically so. The film never feels gleeful in its cruelty. In fact, it's actually quite a somber film, and I have no shame in admitting that the first time I watched it, I actually teared up. It's an upsetting experience. The gore, supervised by horror maestro Tom Savini, is very well done and adds to the visceral discomfort of the film. You cannot watch this poor woman absolutely devoid of hope cutting off her lips with a pair of scissors and not squirm in your seat. It's just horrible. Overall, I think Cutting Moments is one of the best examples you can get of underground shock cinema as genuine art. It's social commentary, it's profoundly moving drama, and it's fucking disgusting, and none of these elements override one another. So stop watching Hellboy or whatever else passes for popular splatter cinema these days, and go check out Cutting Moments. I would just like to clarify that despite using him as an example of a hack filmmaker, I do think Eli Roth has some talent and has made decent films, but The Green Inferno is so mind-bogglingly bad that he's lost all credibility with me. And he also seems like kind of a cunt.